1.2, 1.3, expressions and equations. Here are a bunch of terms that you ought to know. These should all be review. I'm just going to make sure that we remember that order of operations is PEMDAS, which means parenthesis, exponents, multiplication, division, adding, and subtracting. Absolute value is the distance from zero. So on a number line, here's 0, this is x, this is y. They are both 2 units from 0. Another way to look at this is to say that the absolute value of 2 is 2 units from 0, but the absolute value of -2 is also 2. -2 is also 2 units from 0. So moving on, let's just look at some examples. This particular example would be considered an expression and not an equation. If it was an equation, we would have an equal sign at the end, and we would be able to solve something. But we don't, so this is an expression. All I can do in an expression is simplify an expression. So I'm going to simplify this. And I simplify by combining like terms. Remember, terms are separated by addition and subtraction. So this is a term, this is a term, this is a term, and this is a term. And the only ones that look alike are these. We combine like terms based on their variables. So this first term right here is an x squared yz. This is an x squared yz. So they can be combined to 3 of x squared yz's plus 2 x squared yz's gives me 5 x squared yz. This second term doesn't have anything to combine with, and this 7 doesn't have anything to combine with, so I'm just going to go ahead and tag those on at the end. And this is all I can do with this particular expression. So 2 of your terms that you need to remember is simplify and evaluate. So the left, we're just going to simplify. It's all numbers. We're going to simplify. We're going to use PEMDAS. So the first thing is exponents. So I'm going to do 5 divided by -8 divided by 2 squared times 3. Now you can see I have division and multiplication. When I'm down to division and multiplication, I just go left to right. So I'm going to have 5 minus 8 divided by 4 is 2 times 3. Now I'm going to do the 2 times 3, and now I'm going to do the subtraction. The calculators that we'll be using, as you know PEMDAS. So if I type this in from the beginning, I should get that answer. It's a great check, but on the test you'll need to show your steps. Evaluate just means plug in and simplify. So I'm going to take the -1 and I'm going to plug it in here. So I'm going to get the absolute value of 2 times, plug in the -1, absolute value of 2 times -1. Remember, the absolute value is the distance from 0. -2 is 2 units from 0, plus 3, and that would be 5. We're going to look at doing store x, okay, so that we can check this, storing that into x and checking this answer. We'll do that in class. So again, I have an expression, so I just want to simplify the expression. I have to start with PEMDAS, which P would be parentheses, and I start with the innermost parentheses. So I'm looking specifically at these parentheses, and I'm going to distribute this 2 into these parentheses. So I'm not going to do anything to the 2x, minus 3, 4 minus 2, x. I'm going to go ahead and distribute that 2 to the x and the 2 to the 1. I'm now going to combine like terms in here, so I'm going to combine these two guys together. So I get 2x minus 3, 4 minus 2, 3x plus 2. I'm now going to go to the inmost parentheses and I'm going to distribute this 2. And I get 2x minus 3, 4 minus 6x minus 4. I'm going to combine like terms here. 2x minus 3. The 4 minus 4 goes away. I'm going to multiply here. So I get 2x, negative times a negative, 18x, 20x. That's kind of messy. Final answer. Okay, we're going to solve some basic equations. You should be saying, wow, this is way too easy for Algebra 2. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. That's going to give me 3x equals 21. Divide by 3. X is going to be 7. We could take that 7 and plug it in here and get 3 paren 7 minus 5. Does that equal 16? And it does. I will also be teaching you how to use the store button on your calculator. This equation, x squared equals 4. In order to solve this, I need to undo the squared. I don't want to know what x squared is. I want to know what x is. So I get x equals 2. But also remember, if I plug 2 in here, 2 times 2 will give me 4. But I also know that negative 2 times negative 2 will give me 4. So when I'm taking the square root of a variable, it's always going to give me a plus or minus. What about this situation? I'm going to subtract this x over to the right, and I get 3 equals 0. This is a false answer. 3 does not equal 0, so this would be no solutions. If I were to come down and get something that said 3 equals 3, that is a true solution. That is a true statement, so this would be all real solutions. Want to make sure that right here I could write no solution. I could also write an empty set. I could also write null, which is no solution as well. Okay, it's very customary to put your answers in set notation. So back here I could do plus and minus 2, and over here I could do 7 in set notation. So we're just running through a whole bunch of different type of equations that you have already seen in Algebra 1 and probably geometry. This is a product of two binomials, and this is one that gets frequently messed up, so pay attention. I do not want to FOIL this out to solve this. If I solve this, I want to take this first binomial, set it equal to 0, and solve it, and the second binomial and set it equal and solve it. If I solve this, I'm going to get x equals 3 over 4. Sorry, 4 over 3. And if I solve this side, I'm going to get x equals negative 5. Now, we are going to start being a little more specific, and if we said to solve this on positive, whoops, sorry about that. Numbers, then the only answer you would give is 4/3. If we were asked to solve it using the set of real numbers, you would list both as solutions. in set notation. If we were asked for only integers, then the only solution I would give is -5. The last kind of equations we're going to look at are absolute value equations. Remember, absolute value is the distance from 0. So if you put on your math and you think about this, the answer is 3 is 3 units from 0 and -3 is 3 units from 0. And how we solve this is we say the left side equals 3 and the opposite of the left side equals 3. And this will give me 3, this will give me -3. We're going to follow that pattern here. We're going to say x minus 2 equals 3, but the opposite of x minus 2 also equals 3. And yes, a lot of people say, well, why don't you say it equals 3 and -3? And that will work until we get to solving inequalities. So get in the habit of saying the left side equals 3 and the opposite of the left side equals 3. So this is obviously going to give me x equals 5. Here I'll distribute the x, the negative, subtract the 2, divide by -1. So my solution set for this one will be x can be 5 and x can be -1. In this last one, pay close attention. In pre-AP, we try to give you all of the exceptions, and notice that this absolute value equals -7. When can the distance from 0 ever be a negative number? Never. So this is going to be empty set, written either of those ways.